be it collective or personal. And the meaning is never entirely revealed, and is only shown in a fragmentary or enigmatic manner. I wanted to make a sensorial experience, and it's important to watch it in a projection view, because we have to feel it's like a logic of sensation. And I'm searching too to replay the hypnotic or enigmatic power of the image. But that's right. That's the EMDR therapy is I've built the film around the EMDR therapy. Maybe I can explain what is it, a few parts. This therapy uses the sensorial stimulation by the movement of the eyes, and it's the same movement that happens when the person dreams during the paradoxical sleep phase. And so it used to heal PTSD, and it's recognized by WHO, and it's usually used in countries at war. And this during the therapy, the patient is briefly focused on the trauma memory, and at the same time there is this stimulation, this bilateral stimulation with the eyes, and it generates a reduction of the vividness and of the emotion associated with the trauma memories.
For those viewers who've just joined us, I'm speaking with Director of Floaters, Aurelie Garon, about her approach in making this very philosophical, I would say, almost exploration of consciousness and trauma. I couldn't help but after watching the film, but thinking that perhaps the whole film represents a kind of a mental landscape of, well, a reflection of what the character, the troubled man is going through. I always believe that a lot of that there is a symbiotic, almost a reciprocal relationship between the world and our own representation of it, and sometimes they're almost like mirror images. So the way you approached it, without giving too much information away, it's to read. It was very lyrical, very almost non-linear. And was that the origin? Well, was that the intent when directing and shooting the film?
Sorry, was that
the intent? Your
Yeah.
goal was to have almost a lyrical, philosophical
Yes.
approach to it, not just cold narratives. A
Yes.
follows B follows C, but something more right brain, more non-linear.
Yes, it's an experimental film, and I wanted an immersive experience into sound and images, and not a linear narration. Yes, I wanted to keep enigma or mystery, and I wanted that the viewer built his own story, and I hope that it's enter into a resonance with our own ghost or own story, in fact. And in Paris, at the French premiere, I was very moved because the audience felt the mental disease or the trouble of this man. There is something very hard for them. I think for the viewer, it's not. It's a little bit hard in a projection room. But after the EMDR therapy, after this sequence, I call it incantatory ritual, they told me that they felt relieved, and they were really something that enter into resonance with them. That's what people told me after the projection.
Well, that's not surprising because, and you did it really well, because generally in a well-done story, in a well-done narrative, the hero, we become the hero. So essentially, we are his. We join the hero on his journey. So the very process that you use in this, which is EMDR, in a way, is very possible that the people themselves were experiencing some of the relief from EMDR. That is through the hero himself, because we identify with the hero. So whatever is happening to him is happening to us. So when we have another, in this case, a gentleman who helps them deal with the trauma, that also helps us deal with the trauma. And that's really the one of the things that I want to emphasize to those who've joined us, is that the role of perception is very important. I mean, most narratives these days are very just about entertainment, keep us entertained. Whereas what I find very refreshing about your work is that I know you're actually challenging us to go into that world, the hero, in this case, the troubled man, finding out some kind of answer to his demons, to his ghosts, and uh, and that's very different from what I usually see. Um, Now you study in Paris, correct?
Yes,
Were
yes.
you at all familiar? I mean, you must be familiar with the French director slash philosopher Bruno Dumont.
Oh, I love
Yes,
the work of Bruno Dumont. Yes, I
because he's
really love this work. The work of Philippe Grandrieux. I don't know if you know this name in USA, and yes, they are very important to me with the way of filming nature and many.
exactly, because I
Yes.
felt there was a certain kingship that you
Mm.
have between the way he approaches, because he also introduces philosophical themes, but in a real to life, back to life environment, just like you are. Now, have you ever worked with the MDR or that therapy, or you just heard about it or read about it somewhere?
No, in fact, I have for my work, I have to make a DVD for a psychologist that studied EMDR, and I felt that something was very interesting in the image, and so my actor, the main character, my actor Arben Bajraktajar and Constant Halleux, um, we went to a therapist EMDR, and we have experiences that, but during only few hours. And but the first how can I say that? The first maybe inspiration is I grew up. I live in Paris, but I grew up in a French Alps, not far from the mountains in Savoy, and I grew up in a very small commune in Savoy, sheltering the psychiatric hospital. And the mentally ill people entered in my intimate landscape because they circulated free in the streets, and I used to they used to took the bus alongside us, and and they have nurtured my imaginary, my artistic practice. And a second reason is that my family work in social sector, and I have been confronted very early on with forms of marginality, and for me it's very strong figures, very I've always observed the choreography of their body of these mental ill people that lived in psychiatric hospital not far from my home, and it has. I felt that the reality was too narrow for them, and I think it has generated my taste for the exploration of the human psyche and its crack, and it has. Generate my will to dig there and transcend them by fictional means. And I think
Well,
there is many other reason. I because my roots, I come from the mountains, and it's very, how can I say that, very I used to know bone setters, magnetizers, shamanism,
right.
and I think when you come from a city more urban, you don't have the same relation with the nature or with the visible world, maybe. So
Right.
it's in my blood and heart, I think. Yes.
Well, it certainly shows in your film. I mean,
Mm.
your that kind of connection with nature. Um, there was a time back in ancient Greece, 300 BC, where there were specific people used to go. I think it was Epidaurus. They used to go for healing. So some of the original plays in ancient Greece, they were for healing. And that's something that a lot of filmmakers, they've forgotten, is either uh, entertainment, where you just forget about your worries, or uh, too experimental, where you really don't know what you're looking at. But I think you strike a nice sweet spot there, because for those, like you said earlier, some of the people who went to see your film, did report feeling better afterwards, feeling good. And I think in a way you've accomplished some of the original intent of a lot of plays, which is to heal people, to reconnect, excuse me, to reconnect to their essence, to their soul, because too many films today are just about uh, just taking up 2 hours of our time and giving us like flash and visuals. And I've watched way too many experimental films that have very subjective, almost solipsistic. It's just like the you sort of strike a right middle balance where you invite the viewer to essentially explore with the hero the ghosts, that we all have ghosts, we all have these memories. And I think that's where you have accomplished your will. You read the works of Maurice Merleau-Ponty.
Yes, I've studied philosophy. Yes,
And his book on the phenomenology of perception. I think that's probably where he would have been going had he lived to much older, because he was exploring how how perception helps us organize our reality, and you certainly used it visually in that medium. So tell us, you had the premiere in Paris, and
yes,
and
premiere in Paris.
and are you what projects are you looking to continue this kind of thread, this tradition, in other projects, or what's coming, what's next for you?
Oh, there is many things. I'm a visual and sound artist, so I have an exhibition in June in Nice, south of France, and I have other exhibition in few months and in 2023. Very important things, and at the same time, I have a project, a feature film. It's a metaphysical western with no horses and now no cowboys, but with a kind of contemporary pity. I don't know how to. In ancient Greek, in Delphi, the oracle, this woman. So it's a very different world, art world and cinema. So I try to carry on. And
unfortunately, unfortunately, it's on the burdens of directors like yourself to interpret and translate those works that are written into the visual medium, because unfortunately a lot of people today, they don't read, or they read, their attention span is maybe 2 pages. So that's often they look to the visual medium as a way to help them deal with the realities of the world. You also, I believe your film was also shown at our did your film was also shown at our festival, right, in Lille?
Oh, yes, in Lille. In fact, he has been selected for the moment only in USA, Los Angeles, New York, Lafayette, and in South Korea. My main actor, won Best Actor in Los Angeles, and my film won honorable mention as experimental film in South Korea. But for the moment, not in France, except Lille, but it was the Philippe Cadic Film Festival, in fact.
It was a small, right?
Yes.
Did you? So, are you getting the same kind of reactions in other places, that people come to you afterwards and say, "Yes, I felt something. I felt resonant. I resonated with the."
Yes, every time. But unfortunately, I couldn't go to USA, so I don't know. I was in France, so.
Right.
But every people that watched the film told me the same thing, that the this ghost enter into resonance with their own ghost, and they feel relieved with EMDR sequence. And yes, they told me the same.
I think that you're really onto something there, introducing therapeutic methods within the film to help others. A few years ago we did a play on some PTSD, because I actually, during the other than a filmmaker, I also work with patients with PTSD. So I don't use an EMDR, but I use other modalities. And in the play, just like in your film, there was a reenactment of of what goes on uh, with some of these modalities. And sure enough, just like in your case, we had many people coming to us saying, I feel much better afterwards. So, I mean, this is a kind of a theme that needs to be explored a little bit more, which I mentioned, which is the idea that films, experimental works, there has to be like a third way, a third medium where we deliberately create narratives that help us heal people, because the world's broken. Many people are disoriented. They don't know. They're like the character in your film, like the hero. And I think that having more films like yours, it's really good. It's a right thing, because it helps people deal with their own challenges, their own ghosts that exist. And so it seems like you're very busy. Are you focused more on your installations generally, or are you looking to do more films in the future?
I want to make film for the future, but in June I have a lot of I have collective exhibitions, so I will show a sound piece, and I have to create another work in a few months. It's a good thing because I won a prize, so I
That's
have to
fantastic.
be on the same on the bilateral, like the eyes on the same cinema and art world. But of course, I really want to dig more and more films. I think I feel in the right place. I don't know how to explain that. It's this moment is really have something really magical, and yes, it's very important.
Right. For those viewers who are listening or just joined us, we actually going to be doing another festival in Lille in
Ah,
October, in November, actually, October 30th. So
mm.
we'll definitely be showing some films there. But yes, well, that's really great. I do think that you're going in the right direction, that your film is still, I guess you're still playing in many festivals. Is that correct?
Yes, yes. Mm.
And please, that's fantastic. I think again, those who are wondering about the film, and if the film is Floaters, Floaters. Um, Now, is there a website that you can give us so they can at least catch a trailer of the film, and maybe at some point?
Yes, on me, I have my own website, aureliegaron.com, and on Vimeo, if you write teaser floaters, you can find it
Okay, so
on
Aurelie,
Vimeo.
what is your website is Aurelie Garon dot
.com.
com. Oh, okay.
Yes,
So, all right,
yes,
not
and
fr dot com, but just
mm,
com.
mm. And on Vimeo you can find the teaser.
And on Vimeo,
Vimeo, yes.
also on Vimeo, and Vimeo is the link for Vimeo is, you know, offhand.
Oh, for my teaser,
Yes, uh-huh.
I will. I don't. It's
The,
it's this. I can send you maybe.
okay. I'll
Uh,
make
uh,
sure. All right, so I'll make sure I include that
I will-
on the links.
I send you the link on the chat. I send you the link
Okay, great. So what I'll
in,
do is
in my website.
I will go ahead and include that on the. This is going to both private chat. This is going both to Oh, okay, got it,
Yeah.
got it. So let me include this over here. Give me 1 second here. Right. Excellent. This is going to both our uh, yeah. This is going to both our YouTube channel as well as our our Facebook. There, I interviewed a psychiatrist. Her name is Diana Hennessy Powell. You probably can find her on our YouTube channel, and she's actually exploring EMDR. And she wrote a book that she's not your typical psychiatrist that is just very materialistic. She had very powerful experiences that led her to believe other realities, other existences, and but she's still very much grounded, and she went to John Hopkins, and so you might want to reach out to her and
Oh,
that,
thank you.
not just reach out to her, send her your film or a link to your film.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
She's
Mm.
really she's really someone to know, and I think she really would appreciate your rendition uh your rendition. Diane Hennessy Powell, I type it in. You can catch her on our YouTube page.
Okay, thank you.
Diane
I
Hennessy,
will write his name.
and she's an MD, uh, very very smart. She's working on a book on consciousness. It's an amazing, and she actually wrote a book on ESP, but
Ah.
she's not like your average a neo ager, like flowers and crystals and all that. Nothing wrong with that. I mean, but she's more grounded in the scientific method, you know. But she's great. I would definitely reach out to her and let her know that I spoke to you, and because I
Thank you.
think that she might even want to, give you a little write up. You know, she's great, and she really it works with EMDR. She's worked with idiots with savants. Savants,
Servants.
savant,
Ah,
SA.
savants. Yes, yes, I
Yes, and
understand. Okay.
they accessing information through other means and just talking.
Mm.
So she's very much. I've interviewed her. I worked with her a couple of times. So definitely reach out to her. So,
Ah,
um,
thank you. Yes.
well, Aurelie, I think this pretty much brings us to our short. Definitely, I look forward to any films that post and information you have coming up. We're more than happy put it on our website, because I do think that your work is very important at this in this stage, and I definitely look forward to that metaphysical western.
Ah, yes, yes, it's. I need budgets and many
I know.
producer.
And
It's.
do you have a script at all? Have you written a script for it, or is this something that's more
Oh, small, few things, but
you see?
yes, and I work very because sometimes I shoot because I'm a visual and sound artist,
Sure.
and I work with drawings too, with many things, but I'm very very busy, in fact, between art world and cinema with the film, because I carry solely my film. And so I have things, man. This during the summer I will write very more important things. Yes.
Let us know,
Yes.
because we have also a
Mhm.
screenplay competition,
Ah, I didn't know
and
that. Okay.
our
Mm.
festival. Our
Mm.
festival is actually I can't really say anything right now because they kept us on hush hush. But
Yeah.
in
Mm.
June, some good news are going to be coming up on our festival.
Ah, okay. Great.
And I'll
Great.
keep everybody
Mm.
let everybody know. But it's really good stuff. So we hope to do more films and more events in the future. So,
Mm.
well, Aurelie, thanks again for your time, and
Thank you.
good luck. Keep us in the loop.
Okay.
Facebook post. Let us know anything you want us to know, because
Mm.
our audience is both in US and in Europe. So anybody, and we get people from all over the world sometimes asking.
Okay.
So
Okay. Thank you very much.
okay, thank you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye bye.
You have
Bye
a good
bye.
day. Bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, well, that brings us to it's the first installment of Better Living Through Sci-Fi, where I interview Aurelie Garon on her movie Floaters. Those who haven't seen it yet, I really recommend going to her website, aureliegaron.com, where she lists the various festivals. And this is a really an important step where I think we all need to make, where we can take film as a medium through which we can communicate really important ideas. For those who listen, she's mentioned how the audience was moved by the film. Now, my take is that they weren't just moved by the lyrical quality, but how the character was transformed himself. And I do believe there is the key to helping us create a medium for healing, a medium that is not just baseless entertainment, but something that can take people to the next level. And that's ultimately the goal of our program, Better Living Through Science Fiction, a program where we can have films as well as books that where we go into detail about how science fiction embeds powerful themes that are so relevant to the human condition. And one last thing I want to mention to others of those for our next edition, we'll be covering a very important book called The Mind Parasites by Colin Wilson. This is going to be our next installment for Better Living Through Science Fiction. Mind Parasites is an amazing book. Those who have not read it will definitely go into some of its details in our next installment. In the meantime, again, thank you all for showing up to the first installment of Better Living Through Science Fiction. In the future, I'm hoping to do interactive and immersive programs that bring in a very experiential way how science fiction can really transform us, not just to entertain us, but take us to a whole new level of experiencing our world. Again, thank you all for coming, and I hope to see you the next time around. Bye-bye.